Hey everybody, so I told you that I'd make you a video lesson, 2.5.2 solving literal equations. So as you go through it, push pause when you need to go through it, all should be well. So the whole point of today, what are literal equations and what is the process for solving them? Well, literal equations are any equation that has more than one variable to them. So for example, this formula right here, V equals pi r squared times height. That's the volume of a cylinder. So right here, it tells me that my goal is to solve for h. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my highlighter. It says solve for h. So I'm going to highlight up the h. And then just as a way of going through the process of what's happening, I look at this h and I think, what is being done to that h? Well, there's no sign right there, so that really means you're multiplying it by pi r squared, correct? So how do you undo times pi r squared? Well, you divide by the same pi r squared. So on both of these, I'm going to pi r squared it. I'm going to divide by that. And so look at the pi cancels, the r squared cancels out. So I'm just left with h equals the volume divided by pi r squared. And that was my whole goal right there, was to get v by itself. So number one, done, check. All right, let's go over here, solve for r. So I've got distance equals rate times time. So I want r by itself. So I look at the r and I think, okay, what's happening to the r? Well, it's multiplying by t. How do I undo multiply by t? I divide by t. So over here, that just looks like divide by 2. Look, they cancel out. Divide by t. Now, I always make my t with a curvy on the bottom just because that way I know it's a t, not a plus sign. So my final solution, if I want this formula in terms of r, or the rate, take distance divided by t. Now those are really nice ones because it's really just all multiplication and then I'm undoing the multiplication. But what happens when you have one that looks like this? So right over here it says solve for x. So I've got to get the x by itself. Now there's a slight problem. Do you see how that whole line right there? That means that is a grouping symbol. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a parentheses around that x minus y, just so I know that, hey, that's keeping stuff in. So what's being done to my x? I minus y, and then I divide by z. So do you remember that day I showed you the zipper? I have to go, what I did last, I undo first. So in this case, I actually times by z first. So times by z, look, that cancels that out. And my little pencil thing is cranky. So those cancel. And then times z over here. So I've got zw equals x minus y. Now at this point in time, do I need those parentheses anymore? Nope, I've taken care of that, so I can take them off. My goal is still to get that x by itself, right? So I look at the x. How do I undo that minus y? Well, the opposite of minus y. To undo minus y, I would plus y. So I plus y to both sides. And I end up with zw, z times w plus y equals x. That's all I need. So today, you're not ever going to get a number answer out of any of these. You are going to get just a whole bunch of letters reorganized. All right, the next one is a little bit more challenging. It says solve for z. So z is in two places, but notice both places are on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to go in there and figure out, okay, this actually right here is the distributive property. And you might say, nuh-uh, yeah, it is. It's actually the undistributed property. I want to undo it. So I see I've got a z in both of these. I'm going to go backwards on the distributed property and pull the z out, which means if I divide a z out of this, I'm left with 3 minus, if I divide a z out of there, I've got b equals c. Now, is it easier to go back in and get the z by itself? Yep, because see what's happening right here? It doesn't have a sign. That means we've got times going on right there. So I'm going to divide by 3 minus b. That's in parentheses, so this whole thing kind of cancels out. And I've got to do the same thing over here. So z equals c over 3 minus b. Once I get here, I don't need those parentheses anymore because this line right here serves as a parentheses. So there's my final answer. So your job today is going to be to go through and figure out, all right, I've got to do some of those. Oh, here we go. I'm not sure that this is the right assignment. So really what I want you to do is just look at the board and figure out, is that the right assignment? I'm at home, so I don't have it written down in front of me, but these right here will help you. If you need help, stop in tomorrow, Wednesday. The answer key is on Schoology. Use that all you need. I did a really good job of color coding and writing down my thoughts as I did it. So see what you can do with that assignment, and I will see you tomorrow.